Picture this. The end credits of a film that you just watched with your significant other start to roll. You automatically look over at your boyfriend with tears streaking your face and instantly exclaim how fabulous the movie was. He agrees, but with a little less enthusiasm. A few minutes later, you guys get up to part ways to go use the restroom. As women's bathrooms go, the line is already 20 people long. Stepping in the back of the line, you realize that the girl right in front of you is from one of your classes up on campus. Tapping on her shoulder, she turns around and you say, "I think you're from my HS 390 class." To help the time go by faster, you both start to pick up a conversation and talk about things. A few minutes later, you're crying and holding each other, exclaiming that you're meant to be best friends. She's the next person in line to go to the open stall, so she turns around, yells her phone number out at you to have you text her so you guys can hang out. A few minutes later, you exit the bathroom, seeing all the significant others of all the females up against the wall just on their phones, in their own little world. How many of you have been in a situation like this, or have witnessed one like this in real life? Where the female meets their best friend in the bathroom line, and the males just don't. I know that this example is a little stretched, but I think it's a humorous way to help describe communication styles and methods between males and females. Due to people being creatures that form multiple relationships and connections through their lives, it is essential to understand where the other person is coming from and how they communicate. You may ask, but who are you to teach me about this topic? Well, to let you know, I'm actually a marriage therapist. Okay, that's not true, but I have taken multiple psychology classes up here at BYU, Idaho. One of them being a relationship psychology class, where I learned about communication and conflict resolution within marriage and throughout the whole process up to it. It has great interest for me to understand why people say and do what they do and what they say. So, unless you're a hermit, you will most likely form multiple connections and relationships throughout your life, whether that's romantic relationships, familial relationships, or even just platonic relationships. To help decrease the level of the unknown, today I'm going to be talking about two different topics in communication between males and females. The first one is body language, and the second one is strengths and weaknesses each gender has in their communication styles. Just call me your communication guru. Let's start this thing. So, whether we enjoy or dislike the game of what does their body language really mean? We've all played it multiple times in our lives. But whether we enjoy it or don't enjoy it, there's really no way of getting around it. So, according to Point Park University's website, quote, "Nonverbal communication is integral to how we communicate," end quote. There are various types of body language techniques that males and females do, but today I'm only going to be focusing on three specific ones. First one is eye contact, second one is touch, and third one is gesturing or nodding. So let's get to it. First one, eye contact. In the American culture, women are really good at direct eye contact because when they're showing that they're listening, it's basically an open invitation to form a relationship. Now, men don't provide as much direct eye contact as women, and when they do, it's more of in a hierarchical sense. They want to show who's boss and who's got the power in the situation. We have all seen in the chick flick movies the exaggerated stare-off between two males over a female that they think is attractive. Each male wants the other one to back down, so they keep on staring at them to make the other one do it. Second, touch. If you have ever looked around yourself in public, you realize that touch means different things to different people. Just like when men use eye contact, touch is commonly used for them to show dominance and superiority. Point Park University website states, quote, men use pats, back slaps, and shoulder touches as a way to display dominance. But men also use touch to show playful aggression. Anyone who has any group of guy friends knows that 1 minute they'll be chatting, mature, and having a great discussion, and the next minute they're throwing each other into walls and wrestling. As a girl from a family of all sisters, that has definitely been something I've needed to get used to when I've had more and more guy friends. Conversely, women often use their ability to touch to show connection and express support. Ladies, how many of you have comforted a friend, a guy or girlfriend, with a touch on the back or a rub on the arm or a hug to express support and that you're there for them? Also, how many of you ladies have seen a person of interest and touched them on their arm or slapped their knee when you thought something was funny? Oh yeah, that's a little female secret for you if you didn't know. Third, hand gesturing and nodding. I'm one who talks with my hands a lot. As you can see, I'm doing it right now. So it is more likely for a woman to do that and to be more fluid in her gesturing than a man is. A man is more rigid and abrupt when he's using his arms and hands. When listening in a conversation, women usually nod their head to show that they're understanding what is being said. But men take nodding as a form of agreement. As you can see, this can be kind of confusing for males and females when there's miscommunication because they read nodding as a different thing. In another common situation, when a female is explaining something and the man is not showing any signs, verbally or non-verbally, of whether he's listening or not, she thinks that A, he's bored and doesn't really care about what she's saying, or B, he's not understanding what she's trying to convey and converse about. So, as a female, she will ask him or try and restate what she's saying in a different way. The man then interprets this as she's submissive, not confident in herself, and in the workplace wouldn't be a good leader. As you can see, there's a lot of miscommunication. Now that we have talked about body language within each sex, let's take a closer look at the strengths and weaknesses of each gender in communication. So, according to Arnold Snow, a certified speaking professional who works with teams of people to improve their communication styles, stated, quote, although men and women speak the same language, we have differences in priorities, internal processing, and behavior patterns. It's easy to misunderstand, misinterpret, or simply not get where the other one is coming from, end quote. So a woman by the name of Carol Goman wrote an article for Forbes magazine where she interviewed people in the United States, Europe, and Canada about what the people there analyze being good gender differences and not that good gender differences. So first I'm going to touch on the strengths of each gender, and then we're going to go into the weaknesses. So a strength that women have is their ability to read body language and pick up nonverbal cues of people around them. This could be because women have more of a maternal nature where they are able to see if everyone's doing okay or how they're feeling. This could be, next, women are better listeners. Males want to solve the situation by giving advice, but women really empathize and listen. That makes the person that's conversing with them and opening up and being vulnerable want to talk to the woman even more about their problems because they feel safe and validated. Males, on the other hand, have a, quote, commanding physical presence. This helps for people to take them seriously and understand what state of power they are in a situation. We can see how movies use this commanding physical presence when males are either CEOs or doctors or lawyers or in any other prestigious position, because people really respect them and know that they're in the room when they're in the room. Along with possessing a strong presence, men showcase their power effectively. Excuse me. These kind of both go hand in hand. Along with those two strengths that I just stated, men are better at getting to the point in their conversations. For me personally, when I'm talking to friends and discussing something, I usually take 20 detours. And a lot of times I need a reminder from both males and females that I need to get back on the path of what my original thought was. But with males, they're a lot better with talking exactly about what they wanted to talk to and getting to the point. Now onto the traits in male and females that might be a little bit on the weaker side. So as many people know, females are pretty emotional beings. And this could be looked at as a pro or a con. But let's just look at the con side right now. Because women, myself included, are emotional beings, oftentimes something that upsets us will affect us for the rest of the day. And we kind of let it affect everything. Women also struggle to get to the point. Like I said, we like to chat. And like I said before, I'm very guilty of that. Lastly, it's common for women to be categorized as submissive or not authoritative. I feel that in the past few years, my gender has made leaps and bounds in this by being able to talk about situations and problems in society openly. It's so important to be able to respect both genders and hear what both of them have to say, and not categorize one as being more superior than the other. For males, they're oftentimes too direct and blunt. By being this way, many people take offense to what they say and don't really appreciate the feedback that they give. Sometimes males enjoy portraying themselves in a macho or strong light, but oftentimes this is a turnoff to a lot of people. And lastly, we have all met a man that thinks his opinion is right and it's his way or the highway. We a lot of times see that in media and definitely in politics. They only see their viewpoint and that's it. By thinking this way, many social bridges will be burned. So what can we do with all the things I talked about? With all the body language information and the information about the weaknesses and strengths of each gender. Well, sometimes it takes years or even one's whole life to understand the other gender and how they communicate. But hopefully I shed some light into those dark abysses. Just like Ursula said from The Little Mermaid, I'm not going to do her voice because it doesn't sound good, but don't underestimate the importance of body language. And then I added when looking at nonverbal communication. Just like anything else in life, there are weaknesses and strengths, and that's the same for communication methods and styles between each sex. Remember that not every female I talked about in my speech is like that, and the same with males. It's important not to stereotype every person in that gender group as being that specific kind of person. But it's important to take that information that I spoke about today with a grain of salt. Life is meant for forming relationships and connections. We're meant to do this whole crazy thing together. And it's important to understand where the other person is coming from and to really get how and why they're communicating in such a certain way. Because when you do that, you'll never know what you'll be able to find. Thank you.